What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show. And in today's episode, this one's for the kids. This one's for the kids because I feel like, do kids even listen to podcasts? They might. I feel like they might. I don't know. Like, that's something like I gotta think about now. Like, I don't want to go up to a school and be like, "Hey, do you guys listen to podcasts?" That just seemed weird. But if they do, all right, this podcast, this episode, this specific episode is for them, all right? So, anyways, yeah, I'm going to be talking about school in this episode. Pretty much talking about all the stages, all the moments and times I can remember of school. Overall, like, if you guys is asking questions like, oh, can you help me with homework? That I can't do. That I cannot do. I learned what I needed to learn so I could hurry up and get up out of there. But I can't sit down and guide you on work. Like, it was funny the other day, my friend, or not the other day, this was like last year, but it was a friend of mine. I know she was in college, and I remember she needed help with like a paper, and sitting down having to do that, I was like, man, I don't know, like, I don't mind offering assistance to something, but I was like, bro, I can't be doing that. Because I was like, I thought we were going to be up all night doing that. I think it was like, I was watching TV. I was watching wrestling. And, but yeah, it was like from like 9 something to like 11 something. That's how long I was helping her on that paper. And I'm like, man, sitting there trying to search up things. And then she ended up passing. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm like, I actually thought that was dope. Like, I was just like, I ain't like write the paper for her, but overall, what I told her is that what I would have wrote and things, and then proceeded on telling her and stuff. I was like, dang, I could have passed I could have passed the paper in a school or in college, whatever it was. But anyway, yeah, college. But anyways, yeah, school. It was like once I graduated from high school, I was done. I was like, I don't know, like, I thought about college, like, community college and stuff, but I was like, nah, man. Like, I'm like, if I gotta deal with any more, like, teachers and stuff from, like, you know, just overall teachers. Like, if I gotta deal with any more teachers like I was dealing with in high school, then, nah, I can't do that all over again. I'm like, I just can't. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not trying to, like, overall, like, pass the message along, like, hey, drop out of school to stay away from teachers. Like, no, obviously, get your diploma, get your degrees, get all of that stuff, but just try to make it as fast as possible, okay? Like, whatever you can to make it fast and passable, and just hurry up and get up out of there, cool, alright? But, yeah, I'm like, it was like, high school is what did it for me. Like, if I felt like if I didn't have, like, a bad experience in high school, I probably would have went to college, but, just me, I don't know, maybe it was just me and things, but yeah, I was like, overall, like, the teachers that I had, there are some teachers that was cool, but for the most part, I had teachers that I was like, man, if I see you out in public, I'm going to turn my head, like, I will not say hello. Like, that's like, man, and it shouldn't even be like that, you know, like, it should not be like that, but there's teachers where I'm like, do you guys want to be teachers? Like, you had other dreams, but Thomas Jefferson High School was the only school that was hiring at the time, and so you just decided to go and do that and things. Like, nah, like, follow your dreams, because if you a teacher and you got dreams, follow your dreams. Don't be a teacher your whole life, because I feel like that stuff will stress you out, and next thing you know, you got kids in your classroom that you actually will fight, alright? So, yeah, if you're a teacher, follow whatever your dreams and passions are, follow them, okay? Continue with them. Don't just stop at being a teacher and end up retiring as a teacher. No, follow your dreams, do what you want to do, and yeah, just, but don't be a teacher your whole life, alright? Like, I feel like if you like being a teacher, then okay, be a teacher your whole life. But if you got other things in mind, then yeah, don't be a teacher, because I feel like there are some teachers I had that they were, and there might have been some teachers that did like their jobs, but they overall wanted to just stress kids out. Like, that could be a possibility too. But yeah, I was like, man, I just thinking back, like, middle school, I felt like, or not middle school, high school, middle school, I don't know, like, elementary, I ain't really trip. Middle school, I feel like, I don't know, it might have been just, like, where I was at. Like, I feel like all the teachers out here, I don't know. Like, because I went to school out in Federal Way, Washington, so that might have been it. Because I feel like most of the teachers in Federal Way, like, I went to like, Gatewood Elementary out in West Seattle, up until I was 9, and then I had switched schools because my family was moving, and so there was a school like right down the street, and I was given the choice like walk to school or spend like an hour and a half like having to drive or catch the bus all the way to school and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? This might be a little bit easier. It's just down the street, so I don't mind doing that. All right, so I'm like, plus I ain't never had to walk to school before. I've never had that like privilege to walk to school before, so I was like, nah, I want to test this out and see how it is. I should have maybe just stayed going to school in West Seattle. I probably would have had a better experience there and stuff. But anyways, yeah, I remember I was like, I know the 5th grade teacher I had. You know, I'm just going to go through all my grades, all the like memories I had throughout the grades and stuff. So I'm going to start off with 5th grade. West Seattle, I'm not going to touch because I feel like West Seattle, there's like the schooling out there, it has to be easy, all right? So anyways, 5th grade, I remember the one memory I have of my 5th grade teacher was, I remember, so me and a few other kids, okay, I don't know why we did it, but we put gloves on our feet. We were some weird kids, all right? The like friend group I had when I was in elementary, yeah, we did some weird stuff, all right? We were just out there, but we were having fun, all right? We don't know why we put gloves on our feet, but we put gloves on our feet. So, anyways, instead of just telling us to take the gloves off our feet and put our shoes back on, she tells me, and then some of my other friends, I don't even know if she told my other friends to, but she was all like, call your mom. I'm thinking, see, that's the type of stuff where I'm all like, when teachers, when they just go directly to the call your mom stage, I'm like, you must not know how to handle kids. Like, that's why, like, you got to question their, like, teaching ability. Like, I'm not trying to call teachers out and stuff, but I'm just saying, like, it was like a one time, that was like the one and only time I did that. I'm sitting here trying to think, like, I gotta call my mom. Like, how do you explain that to your mom? Like, you put yourself in my shoes. How do you explain that to a parent? Oh, I'm calling you because I had gloves on. I'm like, that's not worth calling a parent for. I feel like if you're gonna call them over something serious, like something like that. I'm like, I can't go to my parents like that. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm like, nah, I actually refused. I was like, I'm not calling my parent over that. Like, I'm like, nah, that's like, nah, I can't, nah, I'm not gonna do that. So I walked out the classroom. Went for a walk, and then went back to the classroom and things. I'm like, I'm not gonna call my mom. I'm like, that's just not gonna happen over something like that. Like, call them if I'm fighting in class. Call them if I'm failing. Call them like if I'm having issues or something. But something like that, I'm like, no, that's just not worth calling a parent for. And if I have, like, when I have kids, and they call me over some stuff like that, like, oh, I was balancing a basketball on my head, or I was taking like freaking books and making a statue out of it or something. Like, I'm like, do you really call me over that? Like, I'm like, I feel like I can't even be mad at the kid, at my kid, if they call me over some stuff like that. I'm like, put the teacher on the phone. I'm like, you can't just tell the kid to stop, go sit down somewhere. Like, don't be afraid to tell them that. Like, don't be afraid to tell a kid to stop doing something. Like, they're gonna listen to you. You're the teacher, all right? You're the owner of the classroom, all right? They see you as a high power and things. The kids that have no respect, yeah, those are the ones that need to, like, be off somewhere, like, in an insane asylum. Like, no, I remember there were kids like that, though. Like, I kind of, like, fast-forwarding up to, I believe it was it my 8th grade year? I think it was my 8th grade year, but there is this one kid, oh my goodness, I remember that kid, he would seriously cause so much trouble. And to those kids out there where you just feel like you need to cause trouble, I don't want to tell you to do this, but you shouldn't be at that school, okay? I don't want you to drop out of school. I want you to get your education because an education can pay off in the future, but acting like that, like, so no, I'll just tell you one incident with this kid. So I remember I was walking to this class. It was a math class, but I was walking to this class, right? And I didn't hear no yelling, I didn't hear no screaming outside the classroom, but as soon as I stepped in, I see him standing on the desk throwing these, and it was just, the scenery was just mad, it was just crazy, but there's cards, paper, like playing cards. It was these giant playing cards the teacher had, but she had these giant playing cards that was on the floor, paper was on the floor, desk was flipped over. Teacher, she's off in the corner just like grabbing the side of her head and things. And he's just standing on the desk just screaming, just yelling and stuff, some old random things. I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, that was the one time where I was all like, man, how does something like this even is allowed? Like, I'm like, I think we had, like, security on the campus. I called security. I'm like, nah, this kid crazy. You gotta go to the office acting like that. Like, I'm like, that's, like, see, something like that where it's all like, that feel like that's when cause it's just like, if you had told them to stop and they didn't took it to a next level and they standing on top of a desk destroying the classroom, yeah, that's when you call a parent. But if my kid calls me talking about, Dad, I'm calling you because my teacher told me to call you because I had socks on or gloves. What did I say? Did I say gloves originally? I meant to say, if I did say socks, then it probably sounded so weird. I'm not even gonna like go back and try to redo it and then say gloves and things. No, we're 11 minutes in this podcast. I meant to say gloves if I said socks, but if I did say gloves, then yeah, if my kid calls me talking about, Dad, I'm calling you because I had gloves on my feet, I'm like, son, don't call me over some stuff like that. If you need to, I'll buy you a phone. You just call the phone. Make sure you put it on silent and just say nobody picked up, okay? But don't call me over some stuff. And matter of fact, put the teacher on the phone. I'm like that, and I tell the teacher, like, if my kid is destroying the classroom, fighting, or failing classes, that's when you call this number. But don't call this number because he has some gloves on his feet. Like, that's no. I'm sorry, but I'm like, that I feel like I don't know, I wouldn't want to be like rude to the teacher. I wouldn't want to make the teacher cry, but I'm like, that come on, like, you're a teacher, like, you can't like, that ain't like, can't press the escape button that early. Like, you're gonna have to press it like a little bit late. Like, you're gonna have to, come on now, like, that's no. I'm sorry, but I'm like, don't call this number no more. But anyways, so yeah, back to the kid. Yeah, and then there was like other times when he was just being disruptive in the classroom. I remember he tried like sitting and talking with me and things. I'm like, no, I do not want to be associated with you whatsoever. I will not. Like, I can't do that. I'm sorry, but no. Like, we can't. I would rather be friends with the teacher. At least me and her can crack jokes and things. You, on the other hand, I'm like, I can't crack jokes with you. I can't have a conversation with you. You're in a league of your own. So therefore, I just feel like that. Yeah, we can't be cool. Like, I shouldn't have to push somebody like that way. Maybe I could have guided him to like be a better person, but I just didn't want to go through all of that. I hope that kid, he's living a better life now. Like, I hope he's doing good. If he's still acting like, cause that kid, he has to be like a year younger than me. I'm 23. If that kid's like, or if he's like 22, 21, however old he was, and he's acting like that still, I'm like, bro, it's going to be hard for you to get, like, jobs and, like, I don't know, you're going to have to, like, equally meet somebody just like you in order for you to have a successful, I don't know, like, I just feel like that you can't be at, like, 20-something years old still acting like that. But anyways, yeah, that kid, that was, like, the one time where I did feel sorry for some teachers and stuff, because I'm like, you know what, if I was a teacher, I probably would have threw a marble underneath his foot, had him slip and fall. I'm like, oh, man. Like, stand over him, be like, oh, man, that's tragic. Like, I'm sorry that happened to you. Hurry up, grab the marble, put it in my pocket. Be like, man, how that happened? Like, you okay? Like, you need some help? Like, here, let me call somebody. Call absolutely nobody. Watch some YouTube videos or something. Put my headphones in so I could just drown out the screams and cries that I would not. I think I honestly would probably not be. I think I would be a good teacher if I had like some good kids, but if I had kids like that, I'm like, bro, just leave the classroom. Like, seriously, go to the office, but just don't come back to this classroom if you're gonna be acting like that. Like, you shouldn't have. I shouldn't have to say that to a student, but I feel like I would. So, anyways, another moment I do remember my 8th grade year is that I don't think I made her cry, but I remember I did make her upset. Like, I can look in her eyes and see that she was upset with me. Like, that was the last time I think she ever wanted to see me again. But nope, she still had me in her. But I just felt like, and you know what? I had to give her credit. I have to give her props. Like, she sent me outside. All right. Overall, I'm like, yeah, when you do something like that, you send a kid outside. She did not call my mom in this incident. So to that teacher, Miss Holcomb, if you ever listen to this podcast, you have to be hands down one. I don't think she ever once told me to call my mom. I remember she did give me the attention, but she never did tell me to call my mom. I'm like, you know what? Like, you know how to handle students. Like, no, she's like, that's one of those teachers where it's like, okay, like I want you to be like like Mr. Feeney. Like, I want to like be able to like go through multiple, like, I think she did say she was going to go to my high school, but I don't think she did. If she did, she was like in a different classroom and things, but no, I'm like that. She was dope. She was dope. Like, I think it was her and there was another math teacher I remember that was there. They were both pretty cool. They were both pretty chill and things. So, yeah, but no, there was a day where I remember we were doing a test. We were doing a math test. And, I remember she told me that, she didn't tell me. She told actually the whole classroom that when you're done, you can sit with your friends and communicate and talk with them and stuff, you know? Overall, just, yeah, talk with your friends and things. And so, anyways, my best friend since 5th grade, still to this day, one of my brother pretty much, but his name's Ryan, but he was in the classroom, all right? Now, this just might just be a thing with me. I don't know if other kids feel that way, but if you have somebody in the classroom that you consider your brother, like you've been hanging out with them since like kids, okay? Like, y'all, like, not, like, we still, I know, the thing is, we still be hanging out with each other and stuff, but I'm saying, like, if I've been hanging out with this dude since I was a kid, okay, we always laughing, we always having fun, we can talk about anything, why would I not sit with him after I'm finished with my test? So, no, here's what happened. So, he finished his test, I finished my test. I was pushing my desk near his, and then Miss Holcomb was like, oh, Tyler, you're going to have to sit back where you were at. And I'm like, why? Everybody else gets to sit with their friends. How come I can't sit with my friends? And then she just randomly said, then she was saying thank you, like not even trying to like answer my question and stuff. And I'm like, that's not answering my question. Like, everybody else gets to sit with their friends. How come I don't get to sit with my friends? And then she said thank you again. And I'm like, thank you ain't answering my question. So like, that's not telling me anything. Like, that's like, that, like, what does that even mean? Like, that's come on now. And so then it was funny. It was the other teacher, Miss Jensen. She was in there. She was like, Tyler, go outside. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like I need to go outside. Because it's like, you over here, like, saying some stuff like that. Like, dang. And I guess, like, the classroom, they were laughing a little bit because they're all like, okay. Like, you know, Tyler, he's all laughing jokes, but if you make him upset, like, he will question your ability and stuff. And so I was doing that. Overall, was doing that. I was questioning her ability because I'm like, what does that mean? What does thank you mean? How is that answering my question? All right. I think that was like the one time where it was like with her, it made no sense that she did that. All right. But I was like, I will, like, no, you know what, no, like, I will give her props. Like, I will show some respect to her and stuff because she didn't call my house. She didn't call my house. So I'm like, that's usually what kids, they don't want stuff like that to happen. So it wasn't like I was being disruptive. There wasn't even a reason to call. Like, and I'm like, no, because you told the whole classroom you could sit with their friends. And then with me, I had to sit back where I was at and things. I'm like, that did not teach, that didn't, like, I don't know what that was supposed to do. But I'm like, that just it overall made her upset. Because I think, like, she went into that situation thinking she had an idea, but then once when it actually had happened, because she had to think about that. And so I'm like, nah, like, once when it actually happened, then she was just like, oh, well, I ain't make it this far, so I'm just going to hit him with the thank you. Like, no, like, you can't, come on now. Like, you're going to have to, like, you're going to have to give me an answer on why I can't sit with my friends and everybody else is sitting with their friends and things. And so, anyways, now I remember Miss Jensen, she came outside and then she talked with me. She was just like, why would you talk to her like that? I'm like, what did I say? I'm asking, I'm like sitting there asking her, I'm like, what did I say? I didn't even say anything back. I'm asking her why I can't sit with my friends. Everybody else is sitting with their friends and I can't sit with my friends. That makes no sense whatsoever, all right? So just letting you know, fun fact about me, I was that kid that questioned everything, okay? Everything that exists, everything that happened. So yeah, in that situation, why would I not question it? I'm supposed to just be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. I'm not like everybody else gets to sit with their friends except me, except Tyler Jamal Moss. I don't get to sit with my friends today. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit back here. You know what? I'm not even gonna question you. You're a good math teacher and things. Like no, I'm not. Like no, I'm gonna question you on that one. So anyways, I remember I got back in the classroom. She just had like this like angry look, like just angry. Like she was, man. I don't think I've ever seen a teacher look that mad before, and especially at me. So I was all like, but she brought it on herself. You shouldn't have hit me with a thank you, thinking that was just gonna slide. Like I was gonna be like, oh, she said thank you, okay. So I guess I could go and sit back where I was at and things, but. No, after that, like everything was cool, you know. Like I would have to say she was probably like one of the coolest teachers I had. Like despite that one incident, I had to say like if there's like a lineup of teachers I can have like all throughout like this like time I was in school, she'll definitely would be on that list because she was a cool teacher overall. So, anyways, now high school because I think a whole lot didn't really happen in middle school. Because I fast forward to grade. I think I had like one teacher in middle school or like in 6th grade. She took my hat, but I pulled some 007 stuff and got my hat back. That was that. But yeah, overall, like I can't really remember any like incidents. I feel like high school, like that's where everything really happens and stuff. So yeah, freshman year, classes was cool. Like I had some pretty simple classes. They gave me walking and fitness as a PE class, and I'm like, listen, if you got walking and fitness, switch out of that class. I mean, if you want to challenge yourself in things, then yeah, switch to something like weight training. Like I would like that to me was my favorite class of all time. Okay, I had to say that was the only class that I really did. Like you get to work out for free. Okay, like overall, that's how I seen it. All right, I didn't have to go to the gym or anywhere and things. But anyways, yeah, I'm like, you work it out for free, and I'm like, this is fun. I like this, like lifting weights, like oh my, like I could do this all day. And so, anyways, so yeah, there was that weight training. That had like I said, I had like all my other classes was simple, but there was another time. Okay, this is like I think this is like my third and final time beefing with a math teacher. After that, I think all like math teachers, they were just like, I think they knew who I was, and they're like, we ain't gonna cross paths with him. We just going to give him his work, and to keep the conversation short and keep it going. But there was a time when I was when I was my freshman year in high school. Of course, rebellious me. I'm not gonna. Well, in a situation like this, I feel like that you don't need to listen. Okay, but so anyways, class is almost over. 2 minutes left. All right, I still remember this like it just happened. But 2 minutes left in class. My phone. All right, so the phone that I had, it was a Pantech Impact. Yeah, Pantech Impact. To explain to you how that phone was, it was so the screen. So it had like this like glass like touchscreen part, and it had like these bulky buttons on the side. And I don't know, like at the time, of course, you know, everybody got skinny jeans. I think it was the jeans that I was wearing, and it kind of like pressed the buttons and stuff. But overall, like, it didn't even matter. Like, them buttons would just press on at any given time, alright? So, anyways, the button pressed on, and I felt my phone vibrating. And usually my parent, like, mainly, I'll have to say, I don't know, my mom, they were sending like text messages, but I feel like if they were to call my phone, something would be happening, okay? Something crazy done happen, alright? So, anyways, I felt my phone go off, alright? And I was like, first thing that ran through my mind was, oh, okay, my parents calling me. It ain't gonna be like a random, I don't know, if it was a random number, I'd just put it back in my pocket. But so now I look, and then I was just like, I guess I might have been looking at it for too long, because I was just trying to figure out what was going on and things. Put the phone turned it off, put it right back in my pocket, and then the teacher, Miss Michaels, she was all like, oh, Tyler, give me your phone. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like, I was turning it off, and plus we only got 2 minutes left in class. No, I'm not giving you my phone. And so she was just like, nope, give me your phone. Like, you're not allowed to have phones out in class. I'm like, you ain't even teaching anymore. You're at your desk doing whatever teachers be doing at their desk. But I'm not giving you my phone the last 2 minutes of class. And so, anyways, then it led into, I would have to say, like a minor altercation, all right? But so she was like, well, then you're not leaving my class. And I'm like, all right, bet. I didn't say bet, but if I think if it had been in a day and age like this, if this would happen now, I said, all right, bet. But like in my mind, all right, bet was going through my mind and stuff. So anyways, I'm all like, all right, you know, like, all right, let's just see how this goes down and stuff. So she decides, like, the bell rang, she's gonna stand by the door because she never stood by the door before. But she stands by the door saying, have a good day, have a good day, gets to me, throws her arms out and stops me from going out the classroom. And her arm, when she did that, she elbowed me in my chest. So I pushed her and said, move, like, that hurt, like, get out of the way and stuff. And then she was just like, you put your hands on me, you're going to get expelled. And so at that point, I was like, you know what, forget it. Took the phone, threw it down on the floor. I'm like, pick the phone up because I'm not handing it to you and things. I'm telling you guys, like, if people like and then, of course, my friend Ryan, my best friend, my brother, he's seen the whole thing as it happened. And he just, like, the look on his face, he was just all like, man, like, that is some, like, I just know he was just, like, shocked. And, like, because it's, like, it's one thing you beef and, like, start up arguments with, like classmates and other kids and stuff. Me, I beef with the teachers, okay? I was on home, like, I was hitting home base when I was in school. I was like, forget these kids. I'm beefing with the teachers because they're the real problems, all right? So anyways, I threw the phone out the, I didn't throw it out the classroom. I was in the classroom, but I threw it on the floor. I'm like, there, pick up the phone and stuff. And then after that, just walk to my next class. She gonna come to my next class and was all like, hey, he's a little bit upset right now. I'm like, yeah, I'm upset because you're over here taking phones at the last minute of class, like last 2 minutes of class, and that's when you decide to take a phone. It wasn't like I was texting or anything. I seriously took my phone out, looked at it, turned it off, and put it right back in my pocket. What will a kid do in that time frame of taking the phone out, looking at it, and putting it back in his pocket? I didn't text. I wasn't calling. I wasn't talking. I wasn't doing anything. Okay. And I think after that, I don't think she ever really tripped about phones again, because it's like, that's just dumb. Like, that's seriously just dumb. Like, I think for a kid, like, especially the last 2 minutes, I'm like, then it's like after that, like, there was other teachers that that they did not trip about phones at all. In fact, there was times where I was listening to my music in class. I had photography class. I was just sitting there taking photos, listening to my music, and editing the photos on a computer. So you mean it's like, and I'm like, that's the thing. I'm like, teachers, they be trying to come up with their own rules and stuff, and I'm like, no, either don't follow the rules, or all teachers gotta follow the rules. But if I go to another classroom and this teacher is cool with me using my phone and listening to my music and looking at it and stuff, it's not like I'm playing games. It ain't like it wasn't even like I was being loud in the classroom and stuff. Like, you had to purposely do some stuff like that. And I'm like, nah, man. I'm like, nah. I just, like, there constantly times kids be sitting here trying to sneak their phones out and stuff. And I'm like, so no, here's another day, all right? This was like my junior year in high school. So there's this teacher. He told you not to have any phones out in class. Now, same situation. My phone had went off. I'm looking at it to see why. And then it was an iPhone, so it vibrated. And I'm looking at it, like, just trying to figure out, like, what's going on and things. Put it back in my pocket, and the teacher was, like, standing right there. So I'd like, you know what? No, because with him, he told me, we were in the middle of class and things, and so he told me no phones out. And you know what I did? Because most kids would have just been all like, put the phone back in their pocket and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I was just looking. I was handing him my phone. I'm like, no, you told me, like, no phones out in the classroom. And he was just like, he was being cool about it. He was just like, just don't let it happen again, man. And I'm like, cool, thank you. Like, how come teachers can't be like you? Like, you seen me just pull it out. It wasn't like I was playing games. It wasn't like I was using it while you were teaching. He was walking out of the classroom going somewhere. I just checked it real quick. And so, yeah, like, teachers, like, that teacher was pretty angry, too, because he was the coach of the football team. And our football team wasn't so good. Like, our football team, last time they won, like, a trophy was, like, 1980. They might have won something since then. I don't know, but I should go up there and see, or, like, look it up and see if it's, like, on a website or something. But, like, I'm like, man, our football team was like the Cleveland Browns. Like, we did not play that good. Sorry, all right, to all my friends that played for the football team at the time. But I'm like, y'all, like, come on, what was going on? What plays was you guys doing? Like, and I'm like, man, I don't understand. Like, you guys should have been, like, doing something good. Like, I ain't really play sports. I wasn't really a sport person. I think if I did, I played it for fun. like we played like two-hand touch. We might shoot like some hoops and things and PE and stuff. But yeah, for the most part, I wasn't like actually on the sports team and things. Like I don't know. Plus I didn't drink enough water, so I was just like, therefore I'm like, yeah, I can't be on the sport team. Or like, yeah, I can't be playing sports at my school and stuff, and then not drinking water. Like I gotta say, like running around, I passed out. Luckily, it's good that I didn't, because if I did and wasn't drinking water at the time, I definitely would have passed out and stuff. So yeah, and that did happen to me before. I remember in middle school, I didn't really start drinking water until after I got out of school. And that's why I was like, yeah, I remember that's when I started taking YouTube serious, and that's when I had started drinking water. But but during school, I remember there was a time where I didn't eat any breakfast when it was at like middle school. It was my 7th grade year, and I didn't eat anything for breakfast that day. We did the pacer test, and to explain to you guys what the pacer test is for those that don't know. They have it when you're walking back and forth to the middle of the gym and then all the way to the wall of the gym, and then it starts off with you walking, and then it ends off with you like pretty much like sprinting back and forth. And they're all like, you still got to keep pace, you can't run and all that stuff. I'm like, man, the way you guys got this thing going off, like you're timing us on when we're going back and forth. And so yeah, I did that, and then I was like on an empty stomach, no water, nothing, and I blacked out. And I guess from what they said, I had ran into the door twice, and I was just had my eyes really big, and was just walking to the wall like in the corner and stuff, just like feeling around and things. And then I don't know, I felt like I might have ran into something, but I didn't really see it. I couldn't see or hear anything, and so I think I did feel myself walking around, but I was I couldn't see or feel anything. And so I was it was a scary moment. Then I was what was scared me was that I heard a deep voice, which was the PE teacher, and then I seen the PE lights, and I'm like, dang, it is really dark, right? Did the power go out? What's happening? What's going on? I hope this ain't it. I hope this is I hope this isn't what took me out. The pacer test? Really? This is what took me? Nah. And I'm like, that, come on. Come on, another chance, please. Come on, God. Don't do this to me. Don't let this pacer test take me out, please. But then I look, I just see a bald teacher, and then PE lights, a bunch of kids looking at me and stuff. And the crazy thing is that I felt fine. I was the one teacher, she came and was walking me to the nurse's office. I'm I feel fine, I really do. But then I remember I got at the stairs, and I almost if she wasn't there, I had fell down those stairs and probably would have broke my neck. And so I got to the nurse's office. Remember, I had me a deli sandwich. I was just put some turkey and ham on it and stuff. But I just ate that, had me some chocolate milk, went to my next class, and I was feeling fine. And so I felt in a situation like that, it's probably best if you go home, get some rest and things, first get some food in your system, and then get some rest, start the day over again. But in a situation like that, I was dang, that was scary. I was man, I don't even know what to do in this situation. But then what else can I talk about? Oh, senior year. Senior year is easy. Because if you got all your credits, there were kids, okay? I thought I was going to end this podcast, but no, there's still more stuff I got to talk about. So there were kids. That's why I encourage all kids, show up to your classes, okay? Complete your classes, do the work. If you need help, ask for it. But sometimes those teachers, they don't want to, they don't want to give you the answers, but tell them how can I understand this stuff better and things, because I felt I had I don't know, I might have had some learning problems when I was in school and things. I don't know, ADD, ADHD, something like that. But I was I had to say school was a little bit hard for me, but I went to credit retrieval. I stayed after school, and I was I can't come back as a super senior and stuff. And so I was my senior year, I remember I think I was failing one class, but then I passed it. I did some work after class. She passed me with a C. I had A's and B's all throughout school, but that teacher, let me tell you how messed up this teacher was. So if you failed a class and so I told so many people about this. I even told my friend Jack at work about this. That if you failed a test in her class, so she'll send the kids that failed outside, and then all the kids that passed, they were inside. Then she'll tell you to come back in, and then all the kids that passed will be clapping for you that you failed the test. What teacher? That's why I was like, that teacher, and I remember there was a time where it was one morning I went to her class to do some work, and because I passed all my classes and things, and so I was just telling teachers like, hey, there's a class that I need to go to do some work. Can I go there real quick and things, and just like, get a passing grade? And so I remember I went there, and she asked me, do I know how to use a blood pressure cuff? And I'm like, I remember some things about it, but I don't remember exactly like how it goes onto a person's arm. And so I put it on her arm, and then she was all like, are you kidding me? You don't know how to use a blood pressure cuff? And she was like, you're not going to graduate if you don't know how to use a blood pressure cuff. I'm like, okay. Because then I started getting a little upset because I'm like, what? Like, okay, because I'm like, you know what? Let me not be the rebellious Tyler. Let me approach this in a different manner, because this is my diploma. This is my graduation that we're talking about. This isn't like in the middle of high school or in the middle of middle school, in the middle of elementary. This is my high school diploma that is on the line here. Okay, so let me approach this in a different way. And I'm like, well, is there any type of work that I can do for the class, all right, that can get me to a passing grade? Because if this would have been like mid like school year or something, like if this wouldn't have been my senior year, I'm like, okay, so can you gather up all the kids, all the teachers, the lunchroom ladies, everybody, custodians, everybody that is in this school right now, okay? Bring them to the PE room and ask them by a show of hands who knows how to use a blood pressure cuff. Because I'm telling you right now, they're going to go to Safeway or the doctor's office and get their blood pressure tested right there. I'm not going to be carrying a blood pressure cuff with me everywhere I go, all right? That's why I wanted to, like, pretty much, you guys are going to be hearing what I wanted to say, but, like, overall, I couldn't say any things. But I'm like, yeah, this whole school don't know how to use a blood pressure cuff. You're the only one that knows how to use a blood pressure cuff, and maybe some other health teachers that go to this school. But you, my friend, are the only one that know how to use a blood pressure cuff, okay? So I'm like, if I don't graduate because I don't know how to use a blood pressure, you explain that to my parents. You explain that to them, okay? The son that was supposed to be the first male of the whole family to graduate, you explain that to them, okay? That, yeah, he didn't graduate because he didn't know how to use a blood pressure cuff. Explain that to him, because they're going to say the same exact thing. Why would I be, if a car accident happens, because that was one thing that crossed my mind too. I'm like, okay, a car accident happens. This person's stuck inside the car, okay? Cuts, bruises, body injuries, all going across them. Do you really think I'm going to sit down and take the time to test out their blood pressure? Why? Obviously, I can see their blood, okay? And I see that there ain't a whole lot of pressure on it if I'm seeing it going out their skin and things. I'm like, that teacher, man, that teacher, it was her, and I remember it was the detention lady. And she would I remember that detention lady, I wouldn't really say she had a mouth on her, but she gets smart with you, or she'll say some things. I'm like, why are you so upset? For what reason? Like, dang, you gotta talk to maybe a few kids throughout, though. You ain't a teacher, you the detention lady, okay? You watch maybe 4 kids a day. There's teachers here dealing with like hundreds of kids every day. Like, what do you have to be stressed out about? You do absolutely nothing here, all right? So maybe they do, but I'm like, what are you doing here, okay? So, no, I remember there was a time I had detention on the weekend. Probably the worst thing ever, but anyways, I had detention on the weekend. And I go there, and I was just like, I remember I had some stuff in I brought my backpack, because I'm like, maybe they might tell me to do some work or something. So I brought my backpack, go and set it down, and then she was just like, hey, you need to put your phone in the drawer. And I'm like, why? Like, what if my mom needs to call me or something? She's like, she could call the school. I'm like, why did they just assume that parents just be knowing? Like, I'm pretty sure my parents know my phone number more than the school's number. Like, they ain't got time to be saving them numbers and things, so I put the phone in there and things. And what other incidents with her? I remember it was the week the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and I remember that week was really cold. It was like 20 degrees outside, And I remember that, man, that week was probably the coldest week ever in Washington, all right? But I remember where every kid had like a hat on. Every kid, okay? Unless they had like long, like explosive hair where it covered their head and things. Me, I ain't have the hair I have now. Like the hair I got now, I'm like, I wish I would have had it in middle school, high school, all throughout. I wish I had me some long hair when I was going through school. But I had a clean cut. And so when you get a clean cut and it's cold outside and there's wind going all over the place, that tends to send a cold breeze across your head, okay? So I had no choice but to wear a hat. So anyways, I remember there was one teacher, never had him as a, or like for a class or anything, but that had to have been he would probably be another teacher that was in my lineup. And I don't even know what he taught. I never had him for a class or anything. But I remember I was that week it was cold and I had my hat on inside the school. He came up to me and he was walking by and he was just all like, "Hey, Miss Bennett, she's walking up and down the hallways taking hats. So hey, bro, just take your hat off real quick." I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I don't know who you are as a teacher, but you seem pretty chill, okay? I like you. You a good person. You a good person, sir. So anyways, he did that. Then sure enough, there's like a bunch of kids was like in the hallway wearing their hats. Miss Bennett, no joke, was going up from behind these kids, snatching their hats off. Okay, like it was a Jerry Springer wig. This teacher going up and down the hallway, snatching hats off. They looking at her like, "What is your problem?" And I'm like, so no, because my thing was, if he didn't do that and I had my hat on and she did that, oh, I would have found one of my friends with the longest fingernails and told them, scratch my forehead, and I'm about to say that she did it, okay? Because I'm like, nah, you doing stuff like that? Like, no, you best believe you're going to get some revenge because it's way too cold to be out here walking without a hat and things. Like, just taking them. I'm like, yo, this teacher's tripping. So, anyways, yeah, what other teachers I have? I remember there was one teacher in middle school. I didn't have her either. But, what was her name? I can't even remember what her name was, like Miss Erickson or something, like, I don't know, but I remember she'll walk into other classrooms and she'll tell the class to be quiet because she walked in there. I'm like, woman, you ain't got no power here. Like, I looked at her, laughed, and continued on talking. I'm like, you do not have no power here. I think the one teacher, she must have liked the fact that I just stood up for myself because I remember one day she did that and I just looked at her and just continued on talking with my friends. I'm like, laughing with them. I just remember I was just like, overall, I seen it as a joke. I'm like, this teacher crazy. Like, you ain't even the owner of this classroom, and you over here talking about be quiet, like, because I walked in the classroom. I'm like, so? They're like, many teachers walk in the classrooms. Don't nobody care. Like, this walk in the classroom, say what you guys say, and get out. Like, dang, you ain't even, like, teaching the same subject. But, anyways, yeah. I think if they have me go to school again, I'm like, bro, I got my diploma, so I don't even have no reason to go back to school. If they had me go, oh man, that'd be a funny TV show where like people, they gotta go back to high school. I'm like, man, you see it like from time, like there's like the Jimmy Fallon, he did with Kevin Hart where it was like both of them guys, they went back to school and things. They did that with me and the teachers acting all crazy with me. I'm like, listen. Because I'm like, we both adults here. And I'm like, if it's a male teacher, I'm like, bro, we both adults. We could take this outside if we want to. Because I'm like, you screaming at me like I'm a child. Like, nah, fam, it ain't going down like that. So, anyways, yeah. I think it's best that I'm not in school. I just can't wait for my kids to be in school. Because if they tell me some old crazy stuff like a teacher told me to go outside because... Like, no, there's the one that I heard. That was like this, the kid, he had to color in the teacher colored in his head with a Sharpie because his like haircut design, they didn't approve of it or something like that. They do that with me, or they take my kid's phone and say, I gotta go there to get it and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, just in case, because I ain't got your guys' number and I don't want your guys' number. I prefer to have my kid's number and call him if something's going down. But yeah, don't call me, please don't call. If they do, I'm seriously gonna probably just pick up the phone and hang up. I'm like, I overall want to like have my kid get taught a lesson, but if it's over some dumb stuff, like he's like the class clown, he's cracking jokes and things. I mean, obviously it's gonna run through the family because that's how it's been for all of us. Like we've all been class clowns, but if they call him over like, oh, he cracked a joke and the whole classroom was laughing. And I'm like, well, what was the joke? And then they tell me, I'm like, okay, well, that's funny. Like, that's why the classroom was laughing. Like, you calling me for approval and thing. I approve of that joke because that's actually funny. Like, I might have to give him a pat on the back for that one because I'm like, I wouldn't even have thought it. I didn't even think of something like that when I was in school. So, yeah, and I'm like, over some stuff like that, like, nah. So, to the kids out there, pass your classes. Don't talk with teachers. They're crazy. And overall, if you don't want to, don't go back to school. I mean, if you want to get more of an education, do what you want to do and things, but don't go back to school. I think it's best if we all just stay out of school and stuff. But anyways, but no, for those that are still in school and things, or for those that are still in school, or like, you know, getting ready to leave school, stay in school, get your diploma, get your education, degree, all of that stuff, and yeah. Tell me how it goes. So anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening to this podcast. This was more of a story time than anything. I was going to try to have this like a teach you a lesson podcast, but no, there ain't no teaching lessons here. I'm just going to tell you guys my story, and I want you guys to learn from it. So anyways, yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching or listening. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Subscribe or follow if you're on the podcast streaming website. And yeah, talk to you guys later. Peace.